Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Lesbian Nana. I'm sorry guys, I can't even say that without a straight face. Even though it may sound funny, believe me, it really isn't. What Lesbian Nana is, what this is essentially what I can really only describe as an extremely disturbing situation, all caught on video, where West Yorkshire police officers in the UK, several of them actually, dragging an autistic girl out of her own home and arresting her for basically insulting one of the police officers. By the way, they're getting memed on considerably for this after this whole footage came out, which we will be reviewing and reacting to in this video today, by the way. So the story goes is police in Leeds, England went to a home, and I'm not 100% sure about what happened beforehand, like why the police were even there, what exactly was going on, so there is some context missing here. So there was this girl. There was a heavily autistic girl, a teenager in the home, who was basically cowering and, going crazy and going nuts because the police are touching her and putting her under all the social pressure. And for autistic people, depending on where they are on the spectrum and how severe the autism is, they can't stand being touched. Or they can't stand certain social pressures, they get overwhelmed easily, or certain noises and certain social situations, seeing certain things and whatnot. Literally, jokes aside, if you're going to talk about trigger warnings for autistic people, it can be a real thing. A lot of people think it's social issues, but that's only just the tip of the iceberg when you really think about it. And I'm not quite sure if you can tell in my videos, maybe you can if you have been subscribed to the channel long enough. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome in my early childhood. I don't in any way consider myself autistic whatsoever, but I am a little bit spurgy myself as an Aspie. There are certain sounds and loud noises that will make me wince and whatnot, right? And I don't like certain senses of certain foods and certain textures and whatnot. I'm very open about being a picky eater. Although, more recently, I've become a lot more eager and open-minded to trying different foods from different countries and different cultures. I would absolutely love to go and try an African dish someday. But, certain noises, certain textures of food, talking to myself, mumbling to myself at times. I don't like it when certain animals, like dogs, lick me and whatnot. I'll freak out if I get kissed or licked by a dog or any animal. Don't get me wrong, I do love dogs. I just don't like it when they lick me, or you know what I mean, right? So by certain animals and by certain ways, I can't be touched or licked due to those certain issues that I have. So I understand the sensory overload sides of things and whatnot of what they label Asperger's syndromes. Some people have a little bit of themselves too, even though they weren't diagnosed themselves with autism or Asperger's. I certainly have some, but I'm considered like a normal human being in society. I don't even consider it an illness or a disability. But this story is disturbing to say the least. And I mean, like, here in the United States, we have seen a lot of news all the time lately about, police brutality, but it's not that very often, I feel, that we hear about, like, a British cop, or a French cop, or a German cop, or any other European cop doing something like this. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on. We don't really hear about stuff like that in Europe. Not to say that it just doesn't happen in Europe, but I feel like it probably happens, significantly less than it does down here. But honestly, I, as an American, cannot even imagine a situation like this legally taking place in a country like the United States. I cannot imagine a situation like this happening in the United States. So, for instance, in the United States, we have this thing found in the Bill of Rights called the First Amendment, which includes a little bit of a thing called freedom of speech. And I'm very much aware of the whole topic of big tech censorship and whatnot. I've made thousands of videos about it already, but outside of these tech firms and in the real world, outside of the internet, I mean, your freedom of speech is pretty heavily protected. Outside of the internet, you can essentially say a lot of shit here. So this autistic girl, they came in and they're manhandling this 15-year-old girl, dragging around, and she made a comment that one of the cops, female, short blonde hair, looked like her grandmother as a lesbian. hence the phrase lesbian nana, literally calling her a lesbian grandma. And this cop was all flabbergasted, and she claimed that she violated a quote-unquote homophobic public offense and was worthy of arresting the girl over just for this suspected hate crime, basically. Well, you're making a homophobic slur against this officer. You insinuated that she looked like a lesbian and apparently told a female police officer that she looked like her grandmother who was a lesbian. Now, that would never happen here in the United States, right? That would never happen legally down here. You can pretty much insult damn near everyone, whoever you want, and you basically can't get arrested for it. Now, obviously, freedom of speech in this country is limited, right? Like, you know, there are things such as libel and slander, you cannot make fake news, and you obviously cannot make threats and say crazy shit like, well, I'm gonna go out and fucking nuke the White House, or any shit like that, right? Because that's considered unlawful. Those are considered threats. But I'm allowed to say that Joe Biden is an old geriatric fuck who's destroying our country. That's fully legal. Saying that is protected by the First Amendment. So if I was outside, right? If I was, you know, hanging out at the park, or I'm at the beach, or spending the day at the mall, and while I'm at the mall, I happen to stumble upon one of the mall cops who just so happens to look like a lesbian, and I can look at that cop and be like, hey, yo, girl, you look like a lesbian with that yee-ass looking bowl cut. What are you, a fucking old-ass tomboy? And I mean, like, there's nothing they can do. They're not allowed to arrest me just for saying that, right? They can't arrest me just for making that comment and making that insult. So what happened in England cannot happen in the US, if you know what I mean. Now, I did say in this video that we were going to be watching and reacting to this video together, right? And I'm gonna have to give you guys a little bit of a disclaimer that the footage that you are about to see may be a little bit disturbing to watch. So feel free to skip over if you don't feel like watching this video. And if you want to watch the full video like uninterrupted, I'll link that in the description down below. Again, video's pretty hard to watch, but anyway guys, let's take a look at this video.
She's made a comment in her own house. You've got her on camera. She hasn't said anything to you. Don't matter. She never got cameras on. She's getting arrested. She's getting arrested. Why are you doing? Units coming. Don't worry. She hasn't done anything. She's autistic. I don't care. She's autistic. I know you're okay. I'm telling you, I've got units coming. She's going to be arrested tonight. Wait till the police officers come in. I'll explain what happened. If I get put in, that's why we got her on the first place. You fucking bitch. What me if I get put in? Calm down. She's autistic. Can you stop staring at her, please? She's got autism. Can you just stand there? She's in a cupboard. She can't go anywhere. She can't go anywhere. Stand there, dear. They're going to remove her for what? Because you're bothered. Think she said the word lesbian. Her nana is a lesbian. She's married to a woman. She's not homophobic. Look what you're clenching your fist. Go away from my teenage daughter. What is up with you? There is something wrong with you, mate. She didn't aim it at the police officer.
It's not homophobic remarks at my colleague.
It's not a homophobic remark. She said, I think she's a lesbian like Nana.
If you want to bully people, you'll just get one of them badges there. That's what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Caitlin! Where'd it go? Where's this? Does it go to right under there?
She's autistic. She don't like people touching her. Well, she will have a meltdown. She won't come out. She's got autism. I'm Lisa.
Talk to her so she can come out. Because we're trying not to do this, aren't we? We've been trying for a long time.
But she hasn't done nothing wrong. That officer out there has assaulted me for no reason. She's got autism. She's autistic, man.
So, as you can see from this video, the cops just went into the parents' house and they cornered this family, trying to detain them. Meanwhile, this autistic girl is in tears. She's cowering in the corner, clearly distressed. She's terrified. And according to like the mom in this video, she eventually starts like punching herself and beating herself up because she's freaking the fuck out. And keep in mind, just like what I said earlier in this video, and I keep saying all the time, she's clearly autistic. So she has all these social issues and has all like these weird quirks and sensitivity issues. So you can literally clearly see and tell in this video that the girl, this poor girl, is going through sensory overload. And then under compulsion and situations like this, that can amplify pretty goddamn significantly. So the mother in this video told us this, And these cops, like, they took her home, or I believe they, like, followed her home. And then they, like, went into the house and they cornered this family. And this girl is just bawling her eyes out and is freaking the fuck out. And they're trying to arrest this girl for saying that the cops looked like her lesbian grandma. Something that is seen by virtually everyone as just an innocuous comment. And I'm just gonna show you this picture of this cop that has been circulating around, and let me just say, I mean, what the fuck am I supposed to say here, bro? Like, what am I exactly supposed to fucking say here, right? Girl, you look like fucking Megan Rapinoe with that fucking ass haircut, man. This cop literally looks like if a British Megan Rapinoe as a police officer. Like, I don't know, maybe you can just, you know, dye your hair pink and blue and maybe you could mimic that signature look that Rapinoe has. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is she very, very stereotypically looks like a goddamn lesbian. I mean, she's got like the short hair and the tough muscular look. Again, were to dye that multicolored and you'll end up looking like a British Megan Rapinoe. And I'm gonna pull a Jerry Seinfeld and say, not that there's anything wrong with it, but if you were to show me that picture of this person, I would have told you straight up that that chick actually does look like a lesbian. So this girl wasn't really wrong if you ask me, dude. And she's being fucking arrested for saying that? For essentially just an innocuous comment and a true statement, by the way, looking at this cop. Let's keep this in mind. She said she didn't like call her a slur or anything like that. She didn't say anything hateful or homophobic. All she really just said was, "You look like my lesbian nana." Which is, by the way, like the British way of saying grandma or whatever, right? I mean, the Queen's English, the proper English, the real English, the true OG English, received pronunciation, as they call it. You know, the once controlled over 30% of the world's landmass English. So how the fuck is that worthy of all of these police officers coming into somebody's house and fucking dragging them out of the house to arrest them? And as you saw from this video, like, the woman is trying to reason with these cops. She's literally, like, you know, pleading with the cops. Like, the mom is like saying, "Hey, please, what are you doing? Stop this, this is insane. My daughter has autism, she's got autism, you know, she's autistic, she doesn't like this environment, please, calm down, stop." And then meanwhile, these cops are just repeatedly saying like, "Oh, we don't care, I don't care, she's getting arrested, we don't care she has autism, she's getting arrested, she says something homophobic, we're still arresting her, we don't care about her disabilities, we're putting her in a jail cell." Like, you can easily tell these cops don't care that this girl has autism. They don't care, and they're still treating her this way. Even though she did absolutely nothing wrong to get arrested for literally just making an innocuous comment towards a cop. They're trying to make it out as she, like, insulted this cop just by saying that. And this is not the first time that we see people in the UK get arrested for a supposed hate speech crime. You remember that time, like, a couple years ago, where this YouTuber, Count Darkula, was literally teaching, as a joke, teaching his pug to do the Nazi salute just for saying a certain phrase to, you know, troll his girlfriend and whatnot? Well, what ended up happening was the dude got arrested, the dude got the video taken down, and the dog was put to sleep shortly after that. They'll even arrest you even if it's a joke. Just a joke. It shouldn't be illegal to make hate speech. If somebody says something racist or homophobic and actually hateful, that person has the right to go up and say, "Hey, fuck you, you asshole." They shouldn't be arrested for saying something hateful. If I make like an offensive joke, which with my dark sense of humor, I do a lot, and then somebody tells me, "Hey, that joke, awful, I was offended by it," and they were nice about it, I would have just said, "Oh, yep, I'm sorry for offending a man, I won't tell it again." That should be it. cops should not be going out and arresting people just for what they say. And that's what they have in the UK. And for a country that just passed Brexit like 5-6 years ago, just by how they're behaving with these laws and how these cops are treating people for saying certain things, at this point, you might as well rejoin the EU, am I right? Anyway, I just think it's nuts with the whole hate speech laws that the UK even have in the first place. Especially with how these cops are handling this situation. The girl didn't even say anything hateful, yet they're still treating her as if she was like a criminal of some sort. Even though she essentially did nothing wrong. Anyway, there is more to this video, so I'm gonna play out the rest of this video and we're going to react to it together and give my final thoughts on this whole situation.
The issue is, if an officer decides to arrest her...
She wasn't arrested.
No,
they brought her up.
She's under arrest.
No, but she was going upstairs and she made a comment to me and that officer ran in my house and assaulted me and tried to get to my daughter for now.
If you want to make a complaint about any of it, that's fine.
I am going to.
That will have been on.
I am going to. Yeah, because it is on and she has.
She's now under arrest.
She was full of rage and she ran in the house and she barged me into this corner.
So, also apparently, according to this video, the girl also has scoliosis and a twisted spine, but apparently, them like pulling on her and dragging her in any way could cause her like pain, and you can tell they're still not caring. They're dragging this girl on the pavement out of the house, they're treating her poorly, she's crying, she's breaking down, and it's getting worse because she's in pain because of her scoliosis. And I'm just watching this fucking video, it's disgusting. This story's so fucking nuts. Are these cops even aware that this girl is suffering from pain due to her scoliosis and twisted spine? I mean, I would assume no, because they don't care about her autism. Who's to say that they'll even care about her scoliosis? You can clearly tell this girl is not just breaking down, she's screaming in pain. She's in pain, screaming in pain due to her physical health issues, and these cops just don't give a fuck. And they're still treating her like this and dragging her, even though you can tell she's clearly in pain. All of these cops should be fired, number one. Number two, link in the description to see the full video for yourself. Again, watch at your own risk. And also, there's another link in the description and you can go and see how they're getting trolled and ratioed at the moment. And I'm just laughing at every single comment I see because they absolutely deserve it. After watching that disturbing video, they are getting absolutely what they deserve in the replies. You'll love to see it. By the way, Styx Hexenhammer was posting like North FC memes on every post that they make that they're like not shutting down the comments on. And I'm literally just dying of laughter every time I see one. You know, just crying my eyes out because it's just so good. I just love that he's absolutely roasting these bastards by using the North FC memes. It's just literally the funniest shit ever. God bless you, Styx Hexenhammer. You never cease to amaze me, man. And the funniest part is, all of the trolls got so out of hand that the official account literally had to delete all their tweets because there was so much backlash from what they did. You've got, in this video's case, a legitimately mentally ill person clearly having a breakdown. You're dragging her out of the house, clearly ignoring all the other physical issues that she has, and arresting her for making what would a reasonable person in a sane country would consider an innocuous comment. It's clearly not derogatory, she isn't trying to be mean, and she didn't even say a single slur towards her. The family has even weighed in, and they're livid, and I don't goddamn fucking blame them. I mean, if this happened to one of your loved ones or relatives, you'd be like, what the fuck is happening? And these are British cops, keep in mind. As I stated before, this doesn't usually happen with European cops. Until, well, like the last 15-20 years or so, British police were considered like the polite ones. Oh, you can go and say hi to the old chap. He doesn't mean any harm. Not even armed with guns half the time. And they were, you know, considered more polite. And the old joke that I heard was like the German police were the problems. The British police were considered helpful. Hello there, chap. Do you know where the directions to the London Eye is, good sir? Yes, indeed, good sir. Right down Westminster, right next to Big Ben. Oh, thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful day, old chap. Pip pip cheerio. That was how British cops were perceived. Like when I was a kid, especially as an American, and I know a lot of you guys here on the channel are Americans yourself, some of you may had this experience. When we thought about Europe in general, European cops, other than Eastern Europe, and I've been to Poland a couple of times, their cops are pretty tough in European standards. But as for the rest of Europe, especially the UK, Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands, and Belgium, and even Germany and France to a degree, we thought about European cops as being wimps. Not giving a shit, actually. They won't even arrest you even if you punch them or key their police car. Obviously, that is not true, but that's how we usually thought of them. And you look at like all the pride parades and stuff like that, and all of, like the actual rioting that takes place, and actual hate crimes that take place. You know, you got some random person twerking on a female cop in France. Nothing is done. Meanwhile, you have an obviously mentally breaking down, severely and heavily autistic girl making, again, what would be considered an innocuous comment, which, by the way, as we can see with this picture, is in fact true, and getting arrested for it. That is just completely meaningless. And you're not even treating her well. They're literally dragging her while she's screaming in pain because of her scoliosis and her twisted spine, and completely ignoring all other physical health issues in the process. They're getting trolled on their Twitter page for a reason. Although I do want to thank Styx Hexenhammer for spamming them with North FC memes. That actually made me feel a lot better, ironically enough, after watching that disturbing video, because they fucking deserve it. They deserve every single ridicule that they get from this. Absolutely disgusting. Abso-fucking-lutely disgusting. I am furious with these cops. Fire each and every single one of them. Fire them all. That's all I gotta say here. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the little notification bell. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias, links are in the description below. Share this video around with your friends, families, boyfriends, girlfriends, enemies, whomever. Definitely helps me out a lot, helps the video grow, and helps grow the channel if you share this video with whomever you know. And I'd like to hear your thoughts about this story as well, so be sure to leave them all in the comment section down below. I mean, this is such a nuts story, really, it really is. The lesbian Nana story is absolutely crazy and brutal, especially the fact that it comes from fucking Britain. That's what's even worse about it, is the fact that it actually comes from the UK of all places. For a country that supposedly has really nice and polite cops, this is just a completely unreal situation to happen. And thankfully, the entire country is turning on these cops as well, so far as what I am seeing. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe, ring notifications, and until then, take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.